that no governors, no directors can go abroad except they have life-threatening diseases or illnesses. They should seek treatment in their own hospitals, which will then force them to do something about those hospitals.
Honestly, I think it's a good idea. I think we should be ashamed as politicians to go abroad and seek cure for hypertension, seek cure for high blood pressure, seek cure for diabetes. We should be ashamed. I agree with you. But you see, what is on ground right now is that it's not so much about us. It's about the average Nigerian that die daily of preventable disease, like diarrhea, like tuberculosis, like meningitis. That's why we are concentrating much more heavily on primary health care and more preventive rather than curative, because it's cheaper to prevent these things than to cure them. And this also includes a whole lot of advocacy on the part of from the Ministry of Health.
Okay. How effective have the anti-graft agencies been in this fight?
Well, I've always said that this administration will not micromanage how the anti-graft agencies are doing their work. But what I love about this anti-graft, work and this fight against corruption is that every accused person is given his day in court. I think this is the beauty and essence of it. You accuse somebody of corruption, you arraign him, you bring your witnesses, you allow your witnesses to be cross-examined by their own counsel. They bring their own witness. At the end of the day, I think it will be clear to everybody that this is not just about witch hunting. And again, I've said on many fora that the interesting thing about the Dasiki Gate is that nobody so far who has been accused of partaking or looting this money has denied that he took anything. On the contrary, they all admit, yes, I took this money, but I used it for this. For instance, somebody admitted that, yes, he took 4.3 billion naira, but he was asked to go and seek for prayers. He was asked to go and pray for the government with it. Another person said, yes, I took 13 billion naira, but I was supposed to give somebody to go and buy land for the Maritime University. Another person said, yes, they paid 2.1 billion naira into my account, but it was supposed to be for advertising or publicity. So far, there's nobody who has been accused of taking money who are denied by this, but they've been giving us reasons why they took the money.
Some said, are they returning these monies?
No, that's why they're in court. Now, somebody said, I took 100 million naira, but I'm not going to return it because I was told to use it to tell my party to support PDP in presidential election. But the question is that whose money is this money? What was it meant for? This money was from the $2.1 billion contract to provide arms and ammunition for our soldiers at the war front. This is what makes it so nauseating. It's not just the run-of-the-mill corruption. It's that money was meant to fight, terrorism, and it was being shared to go and pray. It was being shared to go and buy land. It was being shared for publicity, for campaign. And now we are losing soldiers needlessly at the war front. Orphans were being created, widows were being created, and many millions of Nigerians are today in IDP camps. This is what is so peculiar about that particular Dasiki Gate. And I also tried at another fora to link the cost to our lives. You see, in the entire 2015, 52 billion naira was spent for what they call zonal intervention. And this was 1,278 projects all over Nigeria, either providing borehole or extension service or irrigation. Now, Dasiki Gate so far, 21 people have admitted sharing 54 billion, which is 2 billion more than what was spent in the whole of 2015 for intervention. So this is the message we are trying to bring to Nigerians, that they must know what is the effect of this corruption on their lives.
One of the things that this government has been accused of is not giving out information to Nigerians as they should. So you leave room for a lot of speculations on social media. What do you have to say about that?
You see, the thing about the communication infrastructure today is that it has changed completely. You see, with the social media, the new media, you have no control. I'm not talking about control in the sense of censorship. They now try to set the agenda. And this is what we are trying to, fight against. The government must set the agenda on information. However, we cannot be as, we cannot be as uncontrolled, in quote, as they are. You see, the government cannot just put forth any information, because you also need to look at the security implications, how it's going to affect the unity of the country, and things like that. Now, if today I put forward and say XYZ has released X amount of money, I might be endangering and jeopardizing even those others that were investigating. But in the fullness of time, we would let Nigerians know exactly who's returning how much.
There are a lot of Nigerians who
yesterday, we saw in the newspapers that there was a screaming headline, there's no Ibori loot. Some money was supposed to be coming from there, wasn't it?
Well, I think if you look at the Ibori saga, this was about 3 years ago. So if money was actually returned to government and some people sat on it, we are very glad and happy to receive such information, and we're going to investigate such allegation.
Yeah, I have plenty of tweets coming in, so let's see if we can do a couple of them. Fajobi Abib says, is there any provision for good schools and good health centers in the current budget? Let me tie that to Brown Magnus Olivas, who says, we have federal unity schools and federal universities. Which other schools are you asking about? And then somebody says, in some of our federal universities, you're sacking the teachers there in the primary and nursery schools and nurtured some of the politicians today. How is that going to work out? This is all about schools.
You see, schools, it's not what is called a school. It's not just the structure. It's what facilities are you able to provide in those schools. You all see pictures of children sitting on mats, on floors, on bare floors. And when you talk about schools, please, you should know which portion of it is federal government, which is state, which is local government. Now, but whichever it is, we admit that the standard at our schools today, both in terms of infrastructure and in terms of facility of learning, need a lot more improvement, and we are working on them. On health, I said we are concentrating basically on primary health care, because this is where the majority of our people, this is what they need, most of them. And the government has embarked on the construction and establishment of 10,000 health centers across the country. Thank you.
Okay. This one says, Ike Durumba says, the money collected by Tom Polo has nothing to do with Dasuki Gate. It all points to Nimasa. Why are you saying it's Dasuki Gate? Why are you tying it to Dasuki Gate? That's Ike Durumba.
I think I made it clear that I've never even mentioned Tom Polo here in my today throughout my interview.
No, you
Dasuki Gate, I said, and I said 21 people so far And I gave examples of who they were. Those that took money to go and pray, those that took money for
To buy land.
publicity, those who took money to buy land. So I've never even mentioned Tompolo.
Before we let you go, we've been told to wind up. Before we let you go, the National Theatre facelift you talked about, what's the plan? Some parts of it have already been destroyed, or some parts outside, some buildings outside of it.
No, the National Theatre facelift we're talking about is not pulling down the shanties. What happened over the last couple of days was that I had to make an impromptu visit to National Theatre on the 28th of December last year, following reports that fund seekers were molested and they were dispossessed of their valuables on Christmas Day. So the next available working day, I called my directors and I went on a visit. And when I got there, I found that the whole place was in such a pitiable condition. We have somebody who was rearing pigs just behind the fence, and then we had people who had I think the staff of one of the parastatals, because they had no accommodation, took over a whole building. They were living there. Those are the ones that has to be brought down. But the development we were talking about is redeveloping the fallow lands around the National Theatre and making it what they call a fun city, so that it becomes a hub of entertainment in the whole country. And what has happened so far is that we've arrived. We will be able to be. Before I came in, the government has been able to arrive at a preferred bidder and a reserve bidder, but there's still a lot of work to
concession or to the contract to redevelop.
To develop the fallow lands, and then
not
from
to
the
concession the theatre.
No, to redevelop the fallow lands around,
Okay.
and then from the concession fees they pay us, we'll be able to rehabilitate National Theatre and run it much more efficiently. But it's still work in progress.
All right, thank you very much, Alhaji Lai Mohammed. Thank you for coming. We've been speaking with the Honorable Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Sunrise will be back in a moment. Please don't go away.